So we need to talk. Since 2019, I've done over 1,000 videos, and about 25% of those videos are videos warning folks about the coming recession and telling them how to get their finances in order so that they're prepared when this event does happen. But what I have not done is do a video telling you how I'm preparing for this. An exclusive look at how I'm moving my money, what I'm doing with my money, and what I'm investing in to get ready for a potential market downturn like we're talking about. So that is exactly what I'm gonna do today. And to be honest, with everything happening in the world today, from re-elections, new administration, lots of changes, interest rates all over the place, they were up, now they're coming down, got inflation still moving upward. I mean, there's so much going on. It's really hard to put your finger on the exact right way to do things. And as a matter of fact, there is no one right way for everybody to do it. There's only the right way for you to handle your finances, your money, and what you're gonna do to get ready for this. But I figured the thing I can do is I can show you how I've changed things. Because since the first video I did on recessions till now, things have changed for me too, but some things have stood true. And I wanna tell you about all of them. So to be completely honest with you, there's been a lot of things that have gone differently. I mean, the stock market has been booming. Even when I thought it was gonna go down, it went back up. Inflation went really high. I would say we were almost at hyperinflation, and then the Fed took drastic action and started bringing it back down, but now it's moving back up. Interest rates have gone up, they've gone down. There's been a whole bunch of stuff that's happened. Matter of fact, a lot of the stuff that's happened has made absolutely no sense to me and probably hasn't made any sense to you at all. So I can't tell you exactly what's right for you. Matter of fact, I can't tell you exactly when to make changes to what you're doing. But what I can tell you with pretty much utmost certainty, this is going to happen. A lot of people always say you can't time the market, and you know what, they're right. But what they also don't say is just because you can't time the market doesn't mean you can't plan for the market. And I think there's a big difference. And a lot of people also will tell you, hey, you gotta invest for the long haul. And I'm never, ever gonna disagree with that. They're absolutely right. But investing for the long haul doesn't mean you should not mitigate risk. Doesn't mean you should just stay in the market as the market falls out from underneath you and just be like, oh, it's just a paper loss. So since my first video I did on recessions, I've made a lot of changes to what I do with money. And I have made changes along the way. But a lot of the things that I have said, I still do. And for today's video, I thought I would just have almost like a one-on-one conversation with you. Really just kind of go behind the scenes and show you what I've been doing, why I've been doing it, but specifically just give you some guidance in terms of this is how Chris Naugle is moving things around to get ready for this. Now, by no means is this financial advice. Matter of fact, I don't want this to be financial advice. This is not investment advice for you at all. This is just what I'm doing. Your needs and goals might be very different than mine. So make sure after you watch this video, you sit down, assess what it is you want, what it is that's right for your family, and what it is that's right for you. And then just use this information, this story that I'm gonna tell you, as a guiding light. Because when everything goes dark and we are in a recession, you're gonna be looking for that guiding light. And all I wanna do is raise the torch so you know where to go and who to follow. So I'm Chris Naugle, and this is What Now, What's Next. So I thought the best way to do this is really just to look at everything that's happened in my life, because my life probably isn't so different than your life as well. I've been through ups, I've been through downs, I've made money, I've lost it all. I've literally almost gone bankrupt numerous times. I've started businesses that have failed. I've also started businesses that have succeeded. All of this just creates a blueprint. That's really all it does. And all the failures that I've had, it allowed me to figure out how not to go back there. And I think that's the best part about life, best part about businesses. A failure is just a learning lesson. So I'm going to tell you the things that I've failed at, the things that I didn't get right, so that you don't have to make those mistakes. And that's the best part. It's kind of, when one person ventures a new land, they draw a map so that the next person that comes in, they don't have to reinvent the wheel. You know, I go to car shows all the time and I look at all sorts of other cars, much like the cars I have, because I love cars, but I look under the hood. I ask the person that owns the car, what did you do to it? So that they will tell me, I did this, this, and this, and if I were you, I would only do this. I'm looking to save myself time and money, and that's really what I'm trying to help you do. Use my failures. Use the things I've done to save yourself money and time. So to get started, the first thing I'd like to do is to ask you for something. I know that might seem weird, but I'd like to ask you to subscribe to this channel by clicking that button. Now, right above, there's a little bell. See it right up here? Smash that bell. And what that will do is give you access to a bunch of lives that we do every single week. And one of them in particular called WTF, which is right in line with what we're going to talk about. So the first thing I want to dive into is a thing that you all know, or probably some of you know too well, and that's taxes. You know, I always was in the real estate game, so I never really had huge tax bills. I used real estate depreciation and all of that to mitigate those. But when I sold off my real estate and I started lending money and I started making more money because I was being the bank, I got slapped with some major tax bills. Now, I don't tell many people this, but I had 2 back-to-back years with 7-figure tax bills. So when someone says, you know, you got to pay your fair share, well, to me, that's more than my fair share. But what that has done is forced me to learn the proper ways to mitigate taxes. Not get around them, not anything other than the proper legal ways to pay less in taxes. I got a really good tax attorney, and I'd advise any of you that have a situation or you're looking at different tax strategies, get a tax attorney to look at them. Do you know why I know that? Because I spent well over $100,000 setting up a structure that I then got a tax attorney to review it, and I had to unwind the whole thing. And I don't want that to happen for you. So just spend a couple bucks, have a tax attorney look at any tax strategy that you get. I don't care if it's an oil strategy. I don't care if it's a solar tax strategy, if it's a complex trust structure, whatever it is, do the due diligence and have an attorney review it. But not just any attorney, a tax attorney. Secondarily, get yourself a good CPA. Not a CPA that just does your taxes at the end of the year, or a CPA that you call in the 3rd or 4th quarter and say, hey, we're coming up on tax season. I haven't heard from you. Just wondering, should we do anything? It's too late then. Get a tax attorney, or get a company that actually will help you with tax planning. That's probably the better advice. That will then allow you to plan throughout the entire year. So those 2 tax bills that I got them, and I was too late. When I got the tax bill or the tax estimate, there was only a month, maybe a month and a half left for me to plan for that. That just isn't enough time. You need to be planning on 1/1 for the end of the year. So let's just talk about some of the things that I've learned about taxes. Now there's way too much to unpack here, but I just want to talk about what I've learned. When I got these big tax bills, the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to find a way where I can put money into something that gives me a really good tax deduction but allows me to do good. So I found a private foundation. So we created that 501c3, and maybe this is right for you. Maybe a charitable remainder trust might be better in line. Consult with your professionals to decide. For me, the private foundation worked because it gave me the control and the freedom to do what I wanted with the money that I put into this foundation. Now, just like any private foundation, it is for giving. I want to be clear about that. If anyone ever tells you put money in a private foundation, lend it somewhere back up so you can use it, the money's not yours. And it wasn't yours to begin with. That's the most important thing. With a charitable remainder trust or a foundation, that is not your money. It is the government's money, whether you like it or not. The IRS has claim to that money. The question when you do this is, do you want that money to go to the government, or do you want to help charitable causes? For us, that was our choice. We wanted to put money into our daughter's school, allow them to do more by donating money. We wanted to help animals by giving to animal shelters. We want to help veterans, and we want to help, do something about child trafficking. All those things are absolutely possible. And in giving to all of those, to helping all those causes, I get. So remember in life, the key thing to remember is giving is the single most important thing. So if I give by putting money in the foundation and then donating it, I get a tax deduction. So when I put money into that foundation, that money that I put in, again, it's not mine anymore. I can invest the money. I can do all sorts of things to grow it, but every penny of that money is going to be given away. The bare minimum that I have to give in a calendar year is 5%. We give far more than that, but that's the minimum. So when you put money into a private foundation, consult with your CPA, figure out how much you should be putting in, and start doing it monthly. Because that way you're spreading it out over an entire year, and at the end of the year, you're going to have a bunch of money that you can then go do good. And the secondary part of it is you get a deduction on your taxes. But if you do it for the deduction first, I think your priorities are out of line. The second thing that I really started doing, and I'm still working on this, and my team is going to listen to this video and be like, he isn't doing that, but I am trying, is double down on current initiatives that are working for you. When we go into a recessionary period or a market correction, then the number one thing you don't want to be doing is doing a whole bunch of things and just saying, oh, I'm going to do a little of this, I'm going to do that. I see this in real estate all the time. I see people in real estate. I was just at a mastermind and I saw this. And you ask them, what do you do? Well, I wholesale, I flip, I develop land, I do land contracts, I do this. I'm like, holy crap. Like, no, what do you spend your time doing every day? Well, that's what I do, which means you're doing nothing well. So to sum this up, just double down on the things you really love to do and that you're good at, and then make the most by being an expert in one, no more than two things. Let the rest of it go. Find a way to spin it off. Find a way to get somebody else to handle it so that it takes zero of your time. The third thing that I've really been focused on, and this might sound weird to some of you, but double down on cash. Get liquid. I know I'm always telling people you don't want money sitting in cash. It's not money working for you, but this period of time is different. We're in a heightened interest rate environment, which means you actually get paid for having money on the sidelines. Imagine that. I can't even think of maybe one or two other periods of time in my 47 years on earth where I can actually get paid well for having money on the sidelines. Money sitting in high yield savings accounts. Money sitting in, I hate to say this word, CDs. Money just sitting in specially designed and engineered whole life. Like that guaranteed stuff. I know nobody wants to keep the money there because it's not making enough, but it actually is now. You can get easily 4 to 5% in guaranteed money right now. Here's why you want that. Okay, this is why I'm sitting on lots of cash. And it's actually embarrassing coming from the investment world, coming from the world of private lending and all the things I do. I move money. But for the first time in all of this time I've been doing this, I am literally doubling down on cash. Liquid cash. For me, the majority of it is in cash value life insurance, specially designed and engineered whole life. But I got a bunch of money sitting in high yield savings accounts. Our one company, PMC Wealth, that's what we do, cash management. And I'm getting 4% on my cash, my liquid cash, bank accounts, FDIC insured. I can't think of any other period of time that I remember in the money space that I could do that. You know why cash is really important right now? Because when everything falls apart, you are going to have money to take advantage of massive opportunities. Just imagine going back in a time machine to 2008. Heck, let's go to 2009, 10, 11, any of those years. The entire economy was decimated by the Great Recession. You could even go back to the pandemic if you want to remember that. But I like going back to 2008, the Great Recession. You could have bought just about anything, pennies on the dollar. You could go back and buy real estate if that's your game. You could have went back and bought Porsches for your collection, pennies on the dollar. I hate to even think about this, but this car right here, I probably could have bought for $10,000 back then. I'm not going to tell you what it's worth now. Everything goes on sale. But it doesn't matter how much is on sale if you got no cash to take advantage of it. It doesn't matter how low a stock goes if you got no money to buy it. It doesn't matter how low Bitcoin goes if you got no money to buy the Bitcoin. Oh, and some of you are thinking, well, Chris, I could just borrow the money. I could go to a bank. During a recession, just so you know, or maybe I just need to refresh your memory, it's been a long time, banks don't lend much during those periods. Institutions don't lend during those periods. I will say, the one place you would be able to get money during a recessionary period, like this one that's coming, would be Private Money Club, because they're people just like me. And I will have money then, and I will be lending that money at that time. So, again, back to the sole thing I'm talking about, get cash. Get in cash positions. Get out of the markets and move the money into safe, high-yielding, guaranteed accounts. So you can be that joker that shows up to every party and you buy everything because it's on sale. Wouldn't that be fun? But the next thing let's move on to, I've talked about this a lot. So this should be nothing new to most of you if you follow my stuff, but good old boring ass Treasury bonds. Yep. Treasury bonds, Treasury bills, think of it as this. It is nothing more than an IOU from the United States government. You take some of your money, cash, and you give it to the United States government. You can do this on treasurydirect.gov. You can talk to your advisor about ETFs that buy Treasury bonds. You could meet with one of our advisors at PMC Wealth and talk to them about this. But nonetheless, you are literally lending money to the United States government. The United States government is giving you an IOU saying, we will pay you X amount of interest. And right now, the interest is really good. Depending on the Treasury bill or Treasury bond, it's, let's say, between 4 and mid 5%. Not a bad return, guaranteed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. And you just pick how long you want to lend the money for. But here's the beauty. Unlike me lending on real estate, if I lend on a piece of real estate for 12 months, guess how long that borrower is going to use my money? 12 months. So I don't have any liquidity. So if another borrower comes to me and says, hey, I'll double what that guy's paying you, I can't get the money back. But with a Treasury bill or a Treasury bond, it is such a liquid market because everybody will buy it. There's always a buyer for a Treasury bill or Treasury bond. So if you bought, let's just say, a 30-year Treasury bond, that means you're going to hold it for 30 years. The government would pay you all your money back in the 30th year, but during that period of 30 years, every year they're going to pay you interest, okay? So that's how you understand when I say 30-year or 10-year. It's the duration. In a Treasury bond, a 30-year Treasury bond, I could buy it today, and I could sell it at the end of the week. I could literally sell it anytime. There's always going to be a buyer. What they buy it for, that's the question. So let me go one step further as to why I have really gone deep into Treasury bonds. I've bought Treasury bonds in my IRAs. I bought them in my SEP IRA. Okay, my SEP IRA, just so you all know, is a self-directed SEP IRA, which means I could do anything with that money, but I put the majority of it in Treasury bonds, long duration Treasury bonds. And here's the reason why. I've done this in all the videos, but I understand how they work. Think of it as an X, okay? There are only two equations when you're looking at Treasury bonds to really focus on. When interest rates go up, the price of bonds goes down. So remember, last year, the year before, what was the Fed doing with interest rates? Increasing them. So interest rates are going up. So remember what I just said. If interest rates are going up, what is the other side of this X doing? It's going down. One's up, one's going down. What is the one that's going down? The price that you would pay for the bonds, the price I paid for the bonds. So when do I want to buy an investment? When it's priced high or when it's priced low? Well, let me remember what Warren Buffett said. He said, buy low, sell high, and don't lose money. Well, I don't like losing money, so I'm going to reverse engineer that. That means I must sell high. What am I going to sell high? Well, probably the stocks and the investments that I have when they're high. And what am I going to do with that money from when I sold? I'm going to buy low. But what's low? Well, right now, stocks are definitely not low. They are priced at all-time highs. They are so out of whack in terms of what people are paying for the price of a stock. I want nothing to do with that. But what's really low? Bonds. Why? Because the Fed raised interest rates. Now, take that. So you all understand that. That fits. But now, I don't want to hold these Treasury bonds for 10 years, 30 years, or whatever the duration is. I want to get in, and I want to get out. So when am I going to get out? Now, let's take that same X, because you remember how that worked. Interest rates went up, the price of bonds went down. So let's flip that. If interest rates are going down, okay, which is what's happening right now, the Fed is lowering interest rates, so rates are going down. What must go up? Price of the bonds. Interest rates down, price of bonds going up. So all I need to do is wait for that. It's already, the writing's on the wall. The Fed's already been dropping interest rates and they will continue to go further. But more specifically, remember I said I'm preparing for a recession. So what does the Fed do 100% of the time when our economy enters a recession? They drop interest rates. Not some of the time, not 50%, not 70%, not 90%, 100% of the time, the Fed drops interest rates to stimulate the economy. And what did I just tell you happens when interest rates get lowered? The price of my bonds goes up. And then what does Warren Buffett say, reverse engineering? To not lose money, you must sell high. Oh, my bonds are now high. And then what am I going to buy low? Well, if we're in a recession, what is going to be low? Stocks, real estate, Porsches, who knows? Whatever you want to buy. Catch the drift? That's why I'm buying those very boring bonds issued by the United States government. Now, the other thing I'm going to talk about is probably not something I've talked a lot about, but I have moved probably a pretty significant amount of money into this over the last couple of years. And these are just tangible assets. These are commodities. I've been buying silver, okay? Some of you are like, well, are you buying gold? Well, I bought a little bit of gold, but not really, because I think gold's too high. Remember, buy low, not high. Silver, to me, is a metal that is used way more than gold, okay? It's used in just about everything when it comes to electricity. It's one of the best things you can use for conducting electrical current. So therefore, it has unlimited uses. Maybe not unlimited, but lots of uses, which means there's lots of demand. But silver, to me, from a pricing standpoint, is really low. So I've been buying a bunch of silver. You know, I buy those bars like this. I buy a bunch of the coins just because, I don't know, why not? Might as well have some coins to, count with my daughter. And I just continuously buy them. And how I buy silver and how I've always bought precious metals is just dollar cost averaging. Every month, I'll just put a little bit in and I get my coins. I'll do a check I mail out to get one of those big blocks. So that's silver. I'm not saying gold is bad, but I think you should have probably bought gold a year or 2 years ago. I should have bought gold a year or 2 years ago. I'm not saying it's not, a good buy now, but again, I'm not giving you investment advice, so consult with your gold specialist to find out whether they think gold is a good buy. I think silver is better, which is why I'm buying silver. And the other thing I've done, and I think it's been, 2 years now. I went back to when I was a child, and I remember dreams. I remember what I dreamed about a lot. It was snowboarding, it was dirt biking, it was BMXs, but it was also that black Porsche in the poster on my wall. I thought about that car a lot when I was a kid. I had matchboxes with that car. I just dreamt about it a lot. And as I got older and I was in high school, my one friend, Alexis, her dad had a black Porsche in the garage. And I saw it all the time. It was just sitting in the garage. He never drove the thing. So one day I just said to Alexis, Alexis, you think your dad would take me for a ride in the car? Well, he threw her the keys that very day, and Alexis drove me around in this convertible Porsche, to which now I own that exact Porsche. It's right over there. So I've been collecting Porsches. Now, it's more of a personal thing, but number one, it fulfills a childhood dream. But number two, it's an investment. Now, will these cars go down in value in a recession? Yeah. But do they, over a period of time, always go up? Yes. And what I will do as we get into a recession is I'll look for more Porsches. Now, I know this isn't everybody's flavor, but I didn't say I was talking about what you should be doing. I said I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. And I love the cars. But the other thing that I do that is very important when you're looking at the cars is I buy them using my own banking system. Now, I'm not going to go deep into the infinite banking concepts, but here's what you need to know. Because of the way I buy them, I'm buying them with money that is in my specially designed whole lives. And then what I'm doing is every month I'm making a payment, a car payment, back to my policies. The cars are bought using loans from my policies, my banking system, and then I make payments back to the policy, my banking system. So therefore, because of the way I'm buying these cars, I get all the money back for every Porsche I ever buy, drive, and own. But not only am I getting all the money back, I'm actually making money on them because I don't lose the opportunity to earn on any of the money I'm buying the cars with. I'm still getting paid interest and dividends on every penny for every one of the 5 Porsches that I own. And then I'm making payments back, so I'm recapturing and recycling all the money, so I'm getting all the money back, plus all the interest I would have given up to the traditional bank. So whatever that means to you, whatever your passion is, just know in a recessionary period, all those dreams, those cars, whatever it is, boats, whatever you dreamed about, they're all going to go on sale. So you could pay cash for them, maybe a bank will finance them, or you could just be the bank and buy them with your banking system. The next thing that I've done, and I think I've done a really good job with this, is networking. I have literally put myself in places where very successful people are. What I have done is I've spent the money to be part of groups, be part of masterminds, where there are high-performing, successful people. Now, I don't like all of them, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. Some of them I don't even talk to. Some of them I just think they're full of shit. But at every one of these events I go to, I meet 1, 2, maybe 5 people that I really resonate with. Maybe they're running a successful business and I want to know the path. Maybe they exited a business, just like the mastermind I was just at last week in Dallas. There's a guy in there, Alex, who exited a business for well into the hundreds of millions. And all I want to know is, Alex, what did you do to get that company to exit? What were the steps? And how do I get my company there? You see, that's all I do. When I network, I don't go just to rah-rah myself. I don't go just to feel like I'm part of something. I go because I want those people's attention. And you know what? They're not going to just come to me, so I got to go where they're at. Not only that, let's go back to the cars. I go to car shows because I know the people that have these kind of cars are the people that I want to network with. And what has happened with that? I've made friends with a couple people, not a lot, but a couple people that have cars, that have the same passion, and now we are talking business. And eventually, we will end up doing business. Eventually, we will end up doing lots of business together, but we will build a relationship. So one of the things you want to focus on coming up into a recessionary period or during a recessionary period is figure out, where are the successful people going? Because during a recession, not everybody hunkers down and goes broke. Some people get incredibly wealthy. So put yourself in the place where they're at. Heck, join me at our events. Come to Money Tank. Okay, we do them all over the country. Come to our virtual events if you can't get on a plane. Just get around the campfire. And I'm going to rapid fire through these last ones because I don't want to bore you, but this one goes right in line with what I just said, but you need to invest in yourself. Stop investing in all these high-risk things, these high-risk crypto investments and these high-risk stock investments. Double down on yourself. Invest in educating yourself. Invest in getting mentorship. Invest in coaches. Invest in the people that are going to get you through this next period, or at least help you course correct during this period. Now, hopefully, all of you watching this video, you're going to be just ready to see this recession through and look at it as the biggest opportunity of your life. But I know there are going to be some people that aren't going to look at it that way or aren't going to have it that way because, well, they didn't prepare. So for those folks, let this period be a learning period of time so that later in life you can reflect back and say, I'm never, ever going back to that place. And in order to do that, what you got to have is a plan. You're not going to go into this period of time and come out successful with all these opportunities if you don't have a plan of attack. What is it that you know, like, and understand? What is it that you will invest in during this downtime? What is it that you're going to do with your time during this recessionary period? Who are you going to surround yourself with? Write it all down. Matter of fact, one of my mentors told me one of the most valuable things, so I'll just share it with you. He said, sit down, block off a day, 2 days, a week, whatever it takes, and write out your perfect day. If today was the perfect day, what would it look like? When you opened your eyes in the morning, what do you see? Who are you with? What do you feel? What do you smell? Every step of that day should be outlined right up to the point where you lay back down in bed. Who are you with? Hopefully the same person you woke up with, but maybe not. And when you close your eyes. Now, when I was put into a place where I had to do this, I had to do a perfect day, I thought it would be easy. Mine took me like a month because I went into such detail. Now, also, when you do your perfect day, this is your plan. This is the day you want to live for the rest of your life. But that day will change. Things in that perfect day will happen. The car will be in the garage one day. Then you need to change your perfect day. You need to rewrite it on an annual basis. All I'm telling you, folks, is get a plan, prepare for change, and make sure you know what your perfect day looks like. This one should come as no surprise. This is one thing that I'm doing is I'm planning for this. So I am cutting expenses. I am looking at all the places we spend money, and I am looking at the things that are not absolutely essential. I am looking at all the things that are not needed to get through this period of time. And I start with personal expenses. All the little things that you love, all those little subscriptions you love, I'm slashing them. I don't need them. I don't need them. I don't need them. You cut out all that stuff. And that will get you firmed up and shored up so that you can then start putting cash away into these accounts that prepare for the opportunity. And the very last thing I'll say is hope for the best, but please plan for the worst, because that's going to get you through this. If all you do is keep hoping for the best and hoping for the best and thinking that the next year, 2 years is going to be the same as the last couple of years of just, this awesome upward market, it's going to the moon, you will not be ready. So plan for the worst. That's exactly what I'm doing. Literally every day, I'm planning for that day to be the day that I turn on the news and the whole market's crashing down. And the next day it's crashing down. And the next day it's crashing down. I'm not going to like it just like you're not. But I'm going to be ready for it just like I hope you will be. So I just unpacked a whole bunch of stuff that I'm doing. Not all of it's going to fit for everyone watching this video, but hopefully a couple things really, really fit. And if they do, go through the process and do your due diligence. Consult with your CPA, consult with your tax professional, consult with a tax attorney, consult with your financial advisor, and then make the decision. But please make a decision. Don't bury yourself under the cover saying, oh, this is all going to pass, because it is not. You're going to go through it just like I'm going to go through it. And we might each have different experiences. Hopefully we have a positive experience. And hopefully you don't have a negative experience. I've been through recessions where I've literally almost went bankrupt. I'm never going back there. And what I just told you are the things I've learned because of the mistakes I've made. Now in closing, I just want to recap a couple of things. Get yourself a good tax attorney if you're planning for taxes. Get yourself a really good CPA that will do tax planning throughout the year, not just at the end of the year. Get yourself around the right people doing the things you want to do. Get ready for the worst and plan for it. And make sure your plan is written down. Get your perfect day outlined. Okay, decide whether or not these places that we just talked about where I'm putting my money fit for you. And also, why not go on to privatemoneyclub.com and create a profile so that you're ready when this does happen, either to borrow money or to lend money. And the very last thing I'll tell you, if any of you have interest in cash management, getting the best FDIC or SIPC return you can on your cash, let us help you with that. PMC Wealth, we are experts at cash management. With that being said, folks, I'll see you on the next video. Until then, my name's Chris Naugle, and this has been another episode of What Now? What's Next? And one of the things I want to give you is I want to give you a video I made a couple of years back. But this video really tells an amazing story. Check it out, it's right here. It's called 2025.